On today's episode, we discuss
whether or not Soviet racism is a thing.
And JB plus Mazer Karzov forever. All of that plus super special guest Kira Soltanovich. All on today's Murder We Spoke. Everybody, welcome back to Murder We Spoke. For those of you joining us for the first time, we are new fans of Murder, She Wrote and are venturing to watch and discuss only the best of the best episodes, and we're doing so based on your recommendations. And on the first Friday of each month, we meet to discuss a new episode and all things J.B. Fletcher. I am Ben, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Marissa. Hello, Marissa.
Hello there.
And we're joined by extra super special guest,
Absolutely.
Kira Soltanovich.
Yay!
Hi, Kira.
I'm gonna clap for myself.
Kira's here. She's promoting her special, so
As I put on hand cream.
that's fine. So he's like, she's gonna say yes, so we'll ask, because that's how specials work. But I will say, just get the ass kissing out of the way. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
You watched it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I watched it.
Thank you.
I watched it on my own. Boyfriend got home. I was like, sit down. You need to watch this. This is hilarious. And so, and by the way, I didn't warn him that you were 8 months pregnant. We were doing, he's like, why is she pregnant? I'm like, well, because I don't want to explain how it works, but she fell in love with a young gentleman. And
He's not that young.
Okay.
Not that young at all.
No, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, I was very pregnant, and some people didn't even know that we're coming to see the show.
Oh, really?
Because we shot on Mother's Day, so they kind of just like made it like a Mother's Day event. And I guess their friends knew and forgot to tell them that, by the way, this comic is going to be very, very pregnant. So there was like an audible gasp.
When you watch it,
Yeah, some people, there was like a little bit of like a, oh, like you can't hear it on the special, but I heard it.
That must have been, was that like...
I mean, it was funny, but it was just like, how do you not know? There were posters of me pregnant.
You're driving Orange County, you're driving down and like, oh, P.S., 8 months pregnant. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I was in the carpool lane by myself.
Yeah,
you know, because I'm
that
pregnant. Yeah, and so I was kind of happy about that, but at the same time, it was a little weird because people didn't really know that this is like kind of a different event.
Yeah.
It's not just a run-of-the-mill special.
And then, not to spoil anything, but there is a baby in the audience as well.
Did you see it?
I saw that and I
You
was
see
like...
the black baby?
I went back and I was like, I swear to God someone was holding a kid. Did they bring a doll? That can't be right.
Did
That
you
can't be right.
hear about the black baby? Because I talk about it.
No, I saw it.
You
I
saw
saw
it.
a baby.
Okay.
I full on saw a baby.
Okay, because I have talked about it on some podcasts that I've been on as like little Easter eggs for people to look for, you know?
Okay.
The black baby.
Because that thing, I was like, did they like superimpose that in there? Or these parents are just like, they're cool with it. Like,
They just
this baby's not going to know.
Full on brought a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say any words on this
Any
podcast?
words.
And I even said to them in the middle of the show, we're shooting. Now I cut that part out. But I was like, I might say the word cocksucker.
Yeah.
Once
Like
or
there's a
twice.
really good chance I might say that word. Why are you here with a baby? Well, we thought it was Mother's Day, so we thought we'd make it. No, but it's a baby
Yeah.
at a comedy, and it's plus we're shooting at like 8 p.m. after 8.
Yeah. No, like they're walking in the door, no one thinks to say, are you sure?
What
I don't
about
know
the baby?
how they got this black baby inside.
Yes.
And the reason I keep saying black baby is because it's Orange County, which is very white.
So it's noteworthy. It's
And
Oh, it's beyond noteworthy in Orange County.
And they were sitting right up front, and my producers were like, we can't tell the black people to go sit in the back of the room because they brought a baby. And I go, no, you tell them because they brought a baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They ended up leaving in the middle. So if you like try to like check out the audience cuts later in the second half of the special, the black baby is not there.
Gonzo.
Because she was crying.
I was going to say,
wasn't the baby like it's
I was going to say, yeah,
loud?
very well-behaved baby, because you don't hear a peep from the baby.
Yes.
They killed
I mean,
because
we killed the baby.
Yeah.
Because the baby cried and sacrificed.
There were so many crazy things. Did you see how sweaty I was in the special?
I didn't want to say. A little bit.
So sweaty.
I didn't want to say anything.
So sweaty.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, I'm sweaty now and I just walked downstairs to let you in. So
I sweat all the time, but the lights were so bright that it was just like, immediately I walk out on stage and it's just, whoosh, and I just sweat pour out of every pore in my body.
Well, you exuded confidence. You would have never known.
Well, that's, you gotta just keeping on.
Gotta go.
But I feel like it went, like, as this went on, like, in the second half of the special, didn't notice it at all.
Good.
I feel like, I don't know, it's just maybe the
Good
lighting got
lighting,
better.
yeah.
The lighting got better, whatever, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I would be sweating like crazy, so.
I sweat normally. Plus I have a baby. Plus I
I
had
mean,
a
you
jacket.
are 8 months pregnant.
Yes.
So that does.
And I was peeing constantly.
I was about, the peeing too.
The entire special I'm peeing.
Because I did hear that on another podcast.
Yes.
Where you said that. Because in this, you make a little joke to it, a little mention of it in the special. Didn't realize you were serious. That, oh no, just a little pee.
Oh, the entire special. I was peeing.
Because you can't control
You
it,
can't
right?
control
Yeah.
it.
Being pregnant sounds awesome.
It sounds great. If you have an opportunity.
I'm so sad I will never have that chance.
You know what's so interesting about having kids is that sometimes you'll be just going along with your day, just at the grocery store or whatever, and all of a sudden you realize you're like, oh, I'm not renting these kids.
Yeah.
This
This
like
is a forever.
forever.
That's the thing. When I see people at the grocery store, I'm like, the commitment it would take. I am just so afraid I would never be able to do that. Like, it's just because I had babysat all the time when I was little and when I was in high school. And I'm like, I don't know what these kids eat. No one tells me anything. These kids could die in the next 3 hours, and let alone like if I had to take care of one for 18 years before I finally push it out of the door.
Yeah, exactly.
No one tells me either, and I've already been doing this for like 5 years. So,
Okay, great. So
we're just figure it out.
you just figure it out because like my mom, she's in Montana. She's she's 5 years cancer free, still smokes pack a day.
Oh.
So
Some good choices.
So I'm just saying, like,
cancer has
I'm just
nothing to do with cigarettes?
maybe she's not going to give me the best tips. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Now, you grew up in Montana.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Being the gay kid in small town Montana, that was pretty great.
Is it awesome?
It was as great as you think it would be.
Were you high-fiving yourself the entire time? Like, I am killing it right now.
I mean, I was just like rainbow shooting out of my arms as I walked through the hallway. It was pretty.
But did everybody know? Did you know? Did your
I
parents
didn't know,
know?
like, not till later. I remember one of the most vivid memories I have of high school was Matthew Shepard.
Good old Matt Shepard.
P.S. One of these books is about Matthew Shepard. That is
One underneath the Russian
the one
book.
underneath the Russians might be about Matthew Shepard. It was about his death, and we were social studies class, and someone had to bring in like a national story, a state story, and a world story. And someone's national story was Matthew Shepard, and the fifth-year senior, the kid who couldn't quite get out of school, had to come back again, redneck type. So it was like, well, he was gay. He had it coming. Just like didn't understand why this was even a big deal.
No.
He's like, me and my friends would have done the same thing if he hit on us. So what's the big deal? And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Ben.
And I was a sophomore in high school.
In my high school, of course, I was in LA, in like the Valley, but for rallies, they would have like, love our gays, and like lists like all, I don't know if it's something in the water, we had a lot of gays that are, yeah, like, Ethan, we love you, like all these people, like, because we write signs everywhere, and like they had a, like, it was insane. Like our school was like very accepting.
That's almost too much.
It's a little
the
bit
other
too much.
side of the spectrum.
Almost
It's
too
like if
much.
I
You're
had to
gonna
choose.
out people like Ethan. We love you that you're gay. Oh, my parents don't know yet.
No, but like everyone in high school was like
grandma's here, you
super
guys.
out, and like it's, I don't know, it was like uber accepting. So like hearing that, I'm like, oh god, that's.
So it's like just sitting like across the classroom, and like,
Hey.
it's like, oh, what? Hey.
No.
So your parents didn't know. You didn't know, or you knew.
I mean, I knew, but I didn't want to, like, know. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I didn't want to accept, like, I moved to California when I was 19. And I was like, oh, now it's dawning on me.
Yeah.
Now it's like, now it feels...
What part of it? What made it dawn on you? What happened?
I, like...
The cute guys.
First of all, like, just, like, it was at the same time online dating happened, so I didn't, like, have to go to a bar. Not very social. Didn't have to go to a bar and could just, like, get online and, like, chat with people and it's like then meet up with people and, like, super attended. Like, still to this day, I'd be like, it's probably going to try and rob me, right? Like, probably just good. This is a mugging. This is, like, an organized mugging. I can't trust you. You're shady.
Yeah.
Rob your virginity.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw the whisper of a tattoo in one of those photos. He's probably a deviant. I shouldn't do that. So
That's amazing.
So, and my mom to this day, online dating is the devil. Like, it will,
well,
like,
chat
all
rooms,
those people.
ASL.
But she accepts.
Oh yeah. Well, turns out she's a lesbian too. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So she was like, when I told her, she's like, well, you know, me too. And I'm like, yeah, Nancy's been living with us like for the last 4 years. That I kind of clued on to, like, later on. So it was.
You know, with women, I feel like it's easier. Like, when women travel together and they have one hotel room.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, of course.
Like, I'll sleep in the bed with my
Yeah,
friends all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So yeah, it was never
so
like. 'Cause
your mom had a roommate.
Basically, she had a room, like, right after my parents got divorced, we moved in with it was my cousin, my dad's niece. Turns out my mom and her were dating. Didn't know.
Wow.
So, like, but we just thought, like, oh, like, Aunt Susan is just super cool. Her name is Susan, first of all. First clue. But, and then, like, she just, like, you know, had, like, roommates and stuff. It's like, oh, they're cool. My mom goes to this bar, and Nancy works at this bar. So, of course, they're friends. They're, like, together 24/7.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's...
Okay.
And then, yeah. And then, like, you know, as you get late in high school, it's like,
Because
oh, okay.
I'm like you. I grew up in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there was just no big deal. It was just not even an issue.
And this is Butte, Montana, which is, I always call it...
Oh, I've been there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I performed there.
It's like the Austin of Montana.
All right,
it's,
settle down.
Yeah.
and just in terms of, like, it's like the blue county in a red state.
Right.
Like, it always votes Democrat.
Yeah.
It's Irish Catholic, very...
You got that going for you.
It's as liberal as you're going to get in Montana.
Yeah, I did the college out there.
I went there for 2 weeks.
Nice.
And then they, you know... I moved here, and they were still, like, what do you call it, garnished my wages out here. I was like, what is happening? I went there for 2 weeks.
No.
Like, literally the first 2 years I was here, like, oh, Montana Tech's still taking money. I was like, awesome.
Oh my god.
But I will say, if you're like, if you like to drink, Butte, Montana, St. Patrick's Day is insane because it's all the drunk Irish,
Oh, true.
and they have a parade. Because I was in band, so we'll shock everybody. I was in band in high school, and like played
Tuba?
How did you know? How did you know? Have we had this conversation?
No.
How did this become about me, by the way?
I don't know.
That's
That was
fun.
expertly done. That's expert. But anyway,
I'm
like,
feeling
story.
very Angela Lansbury, that's why.
you're just kind of digging your poem.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate it.
Going naturally.
But I'll just say, like, playing the tuba, it's the one's got, like, the big horn, like, right next to your head.
Yeah.
And our band director had to walk between the two tubas and swat the beer cans away as people tried to throw beer cans in the tubas.
Oh, poor Ben.
And I feel like that's just, like, the perfect picture of...
Like, just like,
Oh my God.
drums.
It's like, I'm just trying to play the theme to Indiana Jones. You guys, what's... Please.
Fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been a great childhood.
I mean, that's why I do a podcast about Murder, She Wrote now, just because I need, like, positivity and light in my life. So
Yeah.
Well, Jessica brings it.
that's the thing, yeah. She's the grandma I never had.
And we still have a chance of meeting her.
She,
Really?
like, lives in
She's
Santa
still
Monica.
alive in
She's-
Santa Monica, so we're hoping one day.
Are you guys like real fans?
Now, yeah.
Recently, yeah, it was literally a year ago last month. We just happened to watch Murder, She Wrote, and, like, fell in love with her. Like, we really, like, we just do this once a month. It's super fun. Our listeners are super engaged and, like, want to talk. JB Fletcher, watch the, like, Hallmark Channel plays the reruns, like, all weekend. They'll play, like, all Saturday is Murder, She Wrote.
Plus, I feel like there's never, like, I haven't seen a show like this with a female lead of that age, and the whole entire cast is above, like, 50.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're all...
And you'll never see that again.
Never.
Oh, no.
No. Can I tell you how angry I was watching this?
Oh my god, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let me
No, not even for the obvious reasons.
Oh, okay.
Just when you look at the actors that were cast, and you think, oh, so there was someone that didn't get the part because they weren't good enough.
Yes. Yeah.
And these people, like, landed the role. You know, like, there were probably, let's just say, 100 actors that auditioned for these roles, and they were not good enough.
Especially the accents.
For the
and
crazy ass accents?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about because
This show kills the accents.
The parade of Russian accents was.
Oh, well, it's like Sean Connery in Hunt for Red October when he's just, I'm just going to be Scottish. I'm just going to be Scottish the whole time.
Like, I'm going to do whatever.
Yeah, I'm just going to be me, and then I'm Russian.
Let's just play a quick little game.
Okay.
Called Are They Actually Russian?
Okay.
Our first one, Major Anatoly Kartsov, the big dude, the KGB agent. Was he actually Russian?
No.
Marissa?
Oh, yes. No.
He was not. He was
I feel
portrayed
like none
by.
of them were. Anyway.
Okay, well, don't spoil again because
Oh,
obviously
sorry.
none of them were. Now you've ruined the game.
No, one of them is.
One of them could be.
Yeah.
But he was played by William Conrad from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes.
He also played.
Who had crazy eyes.
Yes.
I
and
adored his. I adored everything about him, but we'll get to that. He played Jake, or no, the Fat Man from Jake and the Fat Man. If you've ever, did you ever?
That's right. Yeah.
I don't
Have
feel
you ever
bad
even
for
heard of that show?
No, but
Yes.
I called him a fat guy earlier, and then I felt bad, but now it fits.
The '80s, like everything, like he was the Fat Man. That was
played
literally.
Jake.
The Fat was really kind of a morbid. He was like he couldn't leave the couch. He just like sent
was
notes via
eating-
carrier pigeon. It was
like,
really
what's eating Gilbert Grape's mom.
Yeah, basically. That's pretty
that's
sad.
dark.
Irina Katsa, portrayed by, I guess I shouldn't say her name. Was she
No.
Irina? No, she was not. She was Carrie Armstrong, who's born in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, for crying out loud.
So that's just like a mixture of.
Oh my
Horribleness.
God. Her Russian was the worst. The worst.
When they were actually speaking Russian, you speak Russian?
Yes.
Were any of those words
One
thing?
guy.
How was J.B. Fletcher's when she gave that message in Russian?
Terrible.
It sounds
Just terrible. It was so awful.
Our rose-colored glasses were like, wow.
It's like
JB kills
100
everything.
people trying to say feng shui correctly. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like you know what I mean? No one says it right.
I had the option to take Russian in high school, and I chose German. So
That's
In
Russian
Montana,
seems
that's probably
difficult,
smart.
Yeah.
well, we actually got to go to Germany. So
That's cool.
Oh, awesome.
let's see. Alexander Mozarov. Was he Russian?
Yes.
Yes.
No. His
Oh,
name is
damn.
George de la Peña, and he was born in New York City.
I was just going with her because I figured she knew.
Really? He's the only one. He was one that played the male dancer.
Yes.
He's the only one who spoke Russian correctly.
I wonder if he could, like, maybe he was, like, the one actor who put in is like, yeah, I actually speak Russian, and they're like,
Right.
Maybe he
Signed.
Yeah, took
Done.
classes in Montana.
maybe that's, yeah, he grew up in Montana.
Yeah, he's the only one. That's why I
All
thought
right.
there was one. But go ahead.
Last one, Leo Peterson, a.k.a. Leonid Petrovich. I can't remember what his actual
Leonid.
Leonid Petrovich.
No.
Was he Russian?
No.
No, he was portrayed by Hurd Hatfield, who's born in New York City.
They couldn't find one
Well, born
Russian.
in New York City. I mean, that's still.
He was, and that guy, we saw him the last episode we watched. He played a Frenchman trying to steal a Jamaican plantation.
Oh, for crying out
Yeah,
loud.
that one was.
And his I will say his Russian accent better than his French. Can we agree on
It
that?
was. Only because
Okay.
I know less Russian accents than French, probably.
Did they not have one consultant
I
on
think-
the show just to tell them that it's not Rusky, it's Ruski? You damn Ruskies. What? It sounds like you're trying to say a husky, you know, like you're trying to do like a you know, like an animal that doesn't exist, like you're like a hybrid animal. And
it
so
almost
you're
sounds
calling,
like a beer. Like, hey, give me a Rusky. Like, it's like that's how you order a
right?
beer.
But nobody knows that it's like
If you're
call
gonna-
them Ruskies.
Like, get your slurs right. If you're gonna do it,
I
at
mean,
least
that's
do
all
it
I'm saying.
right.
All I'm saying.
They pronounce kami right. Am I?
They did, but
They
they
nailed
also
that one.
used it kind of incorrectly a couple times. It was so
It was
awkward.
the mid '80s. That's
I know. Was it the mid 80s?
the original air date was December 16th, 1984.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
All right, man.
What's-
that's when Russians were really scary.
Reagan had just gotten reelected.
Yeah.
The Berlin Wall hadn't come down yet. Like
This kind of explains the
tensions were
episode a
high,
little more.
so they were just like the Red Scare. They didn't want to be accused of anything. They're like, let's put out an
that's
episode.
True, isn't okay.
They want to see.
Oh no, I remember when I was a kid. It was we were the bad guys.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
like that version of ISIS.
You're like
though that's
Right,
that
yeah.
didn't. We weren't that bad, but that's how they treated us. Imagine.
was it like just we can't go to a James Bond movie because we don't need to see him.
Well, it was just anything that would happen in the news that concerned Russians or communists. I would be sitting in school. I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know anything, and the teacher would look at me like, "What did you say for yourself?"
Oh no.
Are you
Yes,
even in
Mrs.
San Francisco?
I'll never forget Mrs. Gale, and she would look at me. We'd have to read current events, so whatever was going on in the newspaper. I don't know if you guys are much younger than me, but we had to cut out newspaper articles and glue them onto our school paper, and write, synopsis basically of the current events. And one day, some crazy Russian bullshit was happening in the news, and everybody was just staring at me like, "How
That's
dare you?"
unreal.
And I was just like,
I'm a baby.
I'm 8. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anything. I don't know what's going on in the world.
That's crazy. Well, you're like Paige from The Americans. Like, they know your parents have probably brought you into this. Something's gonna happen.
Right.
They just know they got to keep an eye on you.
They did
That's all.
whisper spy stuff
all.
in my ears before I went to bed every night.
They'd
Actually,
whisper code words, see if they could get your brain to trigger where you go into,
Right.
annihilation mode.
my
I've seen the
grandfather,
movies.
my dad's dad, was a driver for spies. So he drove like British spies and Russian spies. Like he was their chauffeur, but it wasn't like a limo. It was just a regular car, but he
Yeah.
was their driver. And one day, this is, Soviet Union, communist. One day some neighbor called like a city official to rat my grandfather out about something, because that's what they did back then. They would just basically tattletale on each other, right?
That's how you prove you're good
That
with
you're-
them. It's
yeah.
like, see, I'm going to tell on him because
Exactly.
we're good. We're
And the
good.
government won't mess with you. And so my grandfather just took off for 3 years.
Like you do.
Just left
Yeah.
for 3 years.
So he wasn't working with like the KGB.
He was-
He was
He was, but he wasn't full-fledged KGB. He was
Okay.
just like their go-to driver.
Like an Uber.
He was like their
driver
Uber.
for KGB.
Their Uber, exactly.
He was the KGB's Uber.
Yes. And he got up and left. Just took off for 3 years. So my uncle at that point was older than my dad. My uncle, had to register for school or whatever, and on the paperwork, he just wrote deceased for father, because they didn't know.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden my grandfather just comes strolling back into town, and the first place he goes to is to my uncle's school to see if he can find him at school. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here to see my son," whose name also, by the way, was, Leonid, basically. Leo, basically, was his name. He goes, "Who are you?" The school administrator was like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm his father." And he's like, "No, you're dead." And he goes, "Yeah, kind of." Like, sort of, I guess, yes,
In a
technically, in a sense.
An argument could be made.
Sure, but I'm not. So here I am, and I want to see my son. I haven't seen him in 3 years.
That's unreal.
Crazy, right?
That's why in today's schools you got to write down a list of people who come pick up the kid.
Yeah.
You don't need Soviet ghosts showing up to pick up kids.
Soviet Ghosts. That's a great name for a book. Soviet Ghosts.
That's awesome.
I like it.
Write that down. Okay. Well, I will just say in defense of this episode.
Try.
We watched an episode later on post the wall falling, where JB actually goes to Russia because like they're going to start publishing her books, even though they made reference to her books being published in Russia in this episode.
Right.
Yeah, that was weird.
About the royalties.
That was weird. 'Cause let me tell
JB
you,
just wants that money, and she's...
let me tell you, there's no way he read her books in Russia. There's no way.
And this is episode 8, and she just wrote her first book in episode 1, so like a young upstart mystery novelist is getting translated and sent to Russia.
There's no way. It was
wouldn't have allowed
illegal.
it, yeah.
It was, my dad got a bootleg copy of a Beatles album, you know, and that was completely illegal. So there's no way. So already from the beginning, I was like, F this episode.
Just historically inaccurate. But afterwards, after the wall had fallen, she went over there, she made some friends, had some fun. She was wearing some furs and looking fabulous. Like, and there was no one said Kami or Pinko or whatever, all the stuff they said, all that. So it's like, this is going to be a fun episode. There's going to be some bad accents. It'll be a great time. I didn't realize it was going to be just borderline offensive for 45 minutes. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Because the other episodes where she's in Russia and dealing with the KGB, it's just good time. It's just good time, Jessica.
Yeah.
We're all having fun. Hey,
So
we're solving
she
a
was
murder.
racist in the other episode that you watched?
No. She was cool. She was like,
I mean,
there's like
she's
some
wearing
caviar.
furs,
There's some caviar jokes, but that was the worst it got.
Compared to this episode.
Compared to this episode,
one was like rough.
Like, whereas, you know, the stage director's like, I gotta keep my eye on those commies. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, he was like really rapey.
Thank you. That's exactly what I said. When he was like sugar plum and like pulls off her shirt a little on her shoulders. I was like, no,
And then-
rapist, 100%.
And I felt a little bad because Jessica later on, when she was trying to lure her over, is like, hey, why don't you use that Mr. Fleming? It's like, you might get raped on your way here, but that's a risk.
But you're a murderer.
Yeah, that's a
so
risk I'm willing to
okay.
take. So
Might happen in prison.
That's no way to treat a respectable Australian actress.
all the way from she's not the one. There was
She's not the Australian?
no, she is. I'm saying the other one that played Natalia
With the long brown hair. Like,
Yeah,
down.
she was not on our game because this episode of Murder She Wrote is the last thing she ever did, and then disappeared off the planet. I can find no other mention of her.
She's real KGB.
So I feel like she is real KGB.
She's a real Russian.
She's a Soviet ghost now.
Soviet ghost. Her Russian was terrible too.
I'm glad she was only in the beginning because I wasn't taking her.
You
I was
weren't?
not a fan. I liked Alexander.
Apparently no one was.
I liked Leo, like old zombie faced. Was it too much plastic surgery, or is it just like?
First of all, a lot of the episode, and I know that you guys are real huge fans of this show, so I don't want to.
You say
Shit
what
on
I
it.
know, please,
Yeah,
please.
But didn't really like. Okay, so they set up that they're going to this ballet together, right? And these two actors who obviously have no training in ballet. Obviously, the extras that they got.
Oh my god.
I'm sure
Can dance, but then they put her in some yellow smock.
Yeah.
It was no. They literally did the thing where.
And then he cheerleaded her up on his shoulder.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. They were. It's like you're doing one with your daughter. Like your daughter wants to be a ballerina, so you pick her up and she twinkles her feet a little bit, and you put her back down.
Yeah.
That's all
That's
they did.
all they
that
did.
was the extent. And then standing applause.
It
Everybody
was
got
worse
up.
than a high school performance.
It was-
Like
there
the
was no-
curtains,
so
the little
bad.
There
fake
was
twinkles are like, dun, dun, like
you
doing
can't,
Nutcracker.
you can't get some
whatever.
B-roll to an actual ballet,
Right.
and then just have because part of the plot point was there's only 5 ballerinas and there should be 6. Have them come out, whatever.
Was
but
that-
get some B-roll of a real ballet.
Okay, so the 5 ballerinas should be 6. Was that really established, though? Was that really established that there are 6?
No.
No.
At the beginning, it showed you there were 6. I feel like because JB said, it threw off the symmetry. Something was bothering me. If we were classy and knew the ballet, we would know that symmetry exists. I'm just chalking it up to me being a dum-dum
No.
and not knowing how.
They didn't set it up.
No.
And also, they didn't set up the number 19 on the playbill.
On the bill.
Like, what was that?
That was the locker where he was to hide.
Oh, but how? Okay.
And so he pulled it from
That
the
was-
bottom to give it to him specific.
No, yeah, I missed that. I missed that at first too because I saw the 19, and then the whole thing when the little flashback to, the crazy woman in the green shirt got in here. He was climbing in through the window. There was a violin box for some reason, and it was lost in all of that.
See, the thing is, we love Jessica Fletcher, and we love how ridiculous it is, but we totally mock how none of it makes sense. It goes all over the place. Like, none of this would actually happen. But it's kind of just, like, ridiculous.
But I did love the thing, like, just with the playbill, when he hands Jessica her playbill, and then focus in, takes one from the bottom, music gets ominous, hands it over, it's close up Jessica's eyes, looking down. It's like, this is really dramatic for a playbill. Everybody, pay attention.
Also, there was a lot of, like, acting mistakes that you do in acting class where the teacher goes, no, you don't do that. And then you did, and then they did that. There was a lot of, like, grabbing someone, not saying anything, and just, like, putting a fist next to their face and then walking away. I mean,
I feel like that was okay in the 80s, because that was, especially so between the stage manager and Berinsky, the guy that ended up being murdered.
Yeah.
There was a lot of him grabbing him, like, and then he'd like tell him, don't stay away from Irina.
But sometimes there were no words. It was just like grabbing and like just.
I was like,
listen, just a lot of grumbling.
Why? Why was that okay? Why was that acceptable? I need to know. Trust me, this is my era, by the way. You guys weren't even born yet. So I'm not even asking you for answers, but I'm just kind of asking the universe, why is this acceptable?
I feel like it's a flashback because we even get back to the people writing. This is the 80s. The people writing the show are in their 80s. So I just feel like it goes back to, that's how it was in the 50s. If you watch a show from, like, a movie from the 50s, there was a lot of big dramatic action, and someone would grab him, so you'd be like, what's he going to do? Is he going to say something, punch him? You don't know. And they're, like, trying to recreate all the 50s. Even the guy that played Leo, he starred opposite Angela Lansbury in 1945 in The Picture of Dorian Gray, for which she was nominated for her second Academy Award. P.S.
P.S. She was also really hot back then. Yeah. You see pictures of her when she was really
she's ridiculous.
Young? Yeah,
she's ridiculous.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
she was.
She has those big blue eyes. And,
she was 20. She's like one of the only actresses. She's still the youngest actress to get nominated twice under 20 or something. Like she killed. Like she was nominated like first 3 years in a row of acting or whatever. She was. But she. So I just feel like it's a throwback. Like they know their audience, and the writers, because they have a lot of language. I even wrote something down that the stage director said that was just so not anything young people would say.
Most of it, I feel.
But it was like, that busybody dame. When they is this where that busybody dame lives? I was like, pretty sure someone in their early 30s is not saying busybody dame.
Yeah.
Ricky Ricardo. You're going to talk about her gams next? Like, stop it. So I just feel like it's just a throwback to the 50s. So I'll allow the overly dramatic grabbing of his lapel and shaking him just so he stays away from the gal he's got his eyes on.
Right. It's just so over the top, and I embrace it. I love it.
I think that's the thing. You have to embrace it.
You just take it for what it is.
Yeah. Let go and let God overact dramatically.
But the chick in the green. Was like the most insane person.
I just think
she's
that was
going to be at a Trump rally anytime soon. Like 100% like future Trump.
Yeah. She believes he's going to make America great again.
Yeah,
she believes it in her soul.
Breaking in through windows to like try and kick out the Russian ballet.
By herself.
Yeah,
I like that she's a solo mission.
I like a friend or a neighbor.
There's no one, like, that's the thing. There was this giant rally outside the thing. She couldn't get one other person, like, hey, we're going to go make a thing. And they're like, I'm fine. Like, I'll hold a sign. I'll march a little bit. But I got to put dinner on the table. They got the point. We made our point. We can go home. She's like, no, I'm going to go in there and claw some.
Claw the fucking, like, that was so much skin under the nails. Oh, God.
You mean the marker across the face?
That was the brightest. Bananas. That was so bananas. When I saw that, I was like, come on. You don't get mauled by a chick in a green sweater by a busybody dame.
And then after that, he's just like, you're leaving. Like, he's clawed his face. There's, like, chunks, like a velociraptor just,
You would have to, specifically, like, sharpen your fingernails to even get it to leave that much blood. But I will say, of the episodes we've watched, I usually get lost. They're a lot more involved than normal. But this one I was able to keep up with, so I applauded for that. And it did throw me, because I made predictions while I'm watching, and I was 100% sure it was Major Kartsov was our killer.
I
really?
guessed right.
You were 100, but you saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah, because I feel like they mostly make the girls the killer in this show.
Oh, it's always like, yeah, she's jealous because,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
women.
Because bitches be crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
She's still, even in the last episode we just watched, which will come out next week, you guys, it was the woman again. It was.
I feel like most of the time it's a woman.
It's, yeah.
Have you?
Her husband was cheating on her and, oh, he's spending all my money, so I'm going to kill people.
Yeah.
That's,
Typical women.
That's just,
Why can't we just get it together?
I don't know. Maybe one day you'll get a break. I don't know.
I know.
Maybe one day. We'll see.
Let's see. But just talking about Major Kartsov, I did want to say, every episode, especially in these early seasons, like someone is making a play for Jessica Fletcher. Often they're half her age. Often there's like 3 dudes at one time that are vying for her.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? Where are we
No,
going?
no, no,
3
whoa,
dudes
whoa,
at
whoa.
one time?
Is she dating that dude, that fisherman dude?
No. That's just her buddy. That's just her friend. And
But
this
like
is
they all want
Really?
exactly. They all want her. Like she invites them over for pie all the time and cakes. And
that's the thing. And
Actually,
this
I thought they were hooking up.
no,
honestly,
that's like
they might be, but
that's just her good friend Ethan, who, from what I understand, left the show because they brought in Dr. Seth Hazlitt,
yeah.
who we've seen, because they wanted her to play off of an intellectual. They didn't want her like associating with all
fishermen
these
can't
derpy
be
derps. Well, because
intellectuals.
I mean, he's the guy in the beginning of the episode where she's like getting him a piece of pie and she's listening to the news and she goes over to the news and he's like, "Hey, bitch, where's my pie?"
Also,
like,
he's the one that put the Russians out working.
He's like,
in the middle of small town Maine.
Yeah, we'll help. They're defecting. They're in hiding. But you know what?
They're seeking protection.
I really got some errands I need done, so I'm going to put them to work.
Are you sure they're not dating?
I guarantee you that was one of the things of this whole series is
She doesn't date.
Sister's doing it for herself. She's not dating her. She's recently widowed.
Oh, okay.
In the pilot episode, she
still wears her ring.
She still wears her ring. She got close to someone who then turned out to be a murderer, and so she's kind of burned forever. And she flirts. She'll drop a little flirt.
And guys will hit on her.
And hit on her endlessly. And like there will be people that like, yeah, there was one 20-something-year-old kid who was like telling her about how much he likes older women, and they got Soup's uncomfortable. But like this is par for the course of her people hitting on her and her just kind of like, we can hang out, we can go to dinner, but
I'll make you pie.
That's as far as it's gonna go.
Yeah, I felt like there was a really awkward moment when the major was like, "Hey, you want to have a nightcap?" And she's like, "No, I think I'm just gonna head back." And he said, "Well, maybe next time." And she was like, "Oh yeah, next time." Like she got like
exactly.
really like
yes, exactly.
horn doggy. She's like, "Oh, you know there'll be a next time." I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, she like fucking plays along. Like she.
Oh, that's the thing. They're her puppets. They're dancing to her tune, and that's just how she likes it. She was, if you notice in this whole episode, she had everything figured out by minute 9, and then just set up this like elaborate plot. She's like, "I'm like a retired widow. What do I have to do? I'm just going to create this elaborate plot with the KGB and the FBI spying on me, and we're just going to kind of see how it plays out." Like, that's the kind of time she's got.
Have the murderer get in a car with the rapist.
Yeah, she could have been like,
fingers crossed, nothing happens.
She could have been like, "Yeah, she's the murderer." She could have went and told a cop, but she's like, "Instead, why don't we do this Home Alone style, like crisscrossy Scooby-Doo thing and try and that has to work perfectly with someone like this guy tapped my phone with his horrific Maine accent. I'm here to see if I can buy a carburetor," whatever he said.
Those people are actually in love. Someone translates fake Russian. The girl's gonna fall for it. I mean, there was a lot going on.
Relying on like she's like basically like breaking this poor girl's heart. I know she's a murderer, but I still felt bad for her. Breaking her heart, saying like, "Oh, this guy's still in love with you," and she's like running to be free. And it's like,
"Oh, we have one message for you." Like this, she could have gone away with it.
Why did she stab that dude? I don't get it.
I don't get it because like the one last time for them to not get away by just.
I think.
Oh, to find them by.
I think so because essentially. It's like a very elaborate plan for her to come up with in the span of 2 seconds.
Right.
But it's like, okay, if I kill Berezhnikov. What was his name? Berensky.
Yeah.
If I kill Berensky, they'll think that these two who are defecting killed him to aid in their escape. They'll throw out a wide net and bring these people in, and then they won't get away. But Like, can you be with Alexander if he's in the gulag? I don't know.
Well, clearly she's fucking crazy.
That's
so
well.
she doesn't
That's
think
well.
that
I mean,
far.
that's what JB said. Like in the heat of the moment, like that's what you did.
If
And
she can't have him, no one can.
by the way, why is it a real dagger that you're using as ballet anyway? Why is this a dagger that can kill
Yeah,
someone if it's a prop in a ballet?
really.
It's Russian ballet.
Yeah,
Oh,
they don't
okay,
mess
okay.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
That
Romeo
makes
and
sense.
Juliet at the end, that's real poison. Those actors know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
That's what you sign up for.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate sacrifice to your art.
That's what happened with the Black Baby. They knew what they were getting themselves into.
Oh,
They signed that waiver. They knew.
good old
knew.
Black
They knew.
Baby.
Oh.
Let's see. What else do I have on here? We talked about how horrible that ballet looked. But again, Karzov, I just think the flirtation between them, he was a worthy adversary for J.B. Fletcher.
I feel like he was super turned on when he saw like how she was like working everyone. He's like, yeah,
At the end, when he was like, he had to tear himself away, and she's like, "You like to fish? Why don't you stay? We got some great fishing around here." And he's like, "Days have a way of turning into years." And I
he
was
had
like,
to go back to Mother
"That's
Russia.
still my heart." Like, yeah, he's like, "I love my country," but it was hard for him to leave
What did he
JB.
say at the end when she's like, "Oh, don't you want to be free?" And he's like, I'll pretend I didn't hear that. or
As a
something.
loyal citizen of the
Yeah.
Soviet Union, I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
But I liked his like big face and his like
His
crystal blue
piercing-
eyes and like sometimes from the doorway it's like little slits. I'm like, "Mwah." It's like so cute. I loved it.
I thought he was great. Like there was charisma there. Like I can see why like he got his own series and stuff. Like I thought he was very charismatic, but he was still like menacing in the way, almost in the way just to compare to Angela Lansbury in The Manchurian Candidate, where it's like there's nothing big, loud, or brash about the way she's pure evil, but it's still the most terrifying evil because he's just like, you know, he would slit your throat, wipe his
Yeah.
hands, and he would go on with his day, and
had,
he
like,
wouldn't
a
think about you
bodyguard
ever
watching
again.
her.
Yeah, but I just think like he could have been a Bond villain. I thought he was great. I loved him.
I wasn't in love with him like you guys were.
Okay, all right. We're all for a dissenting opinion.
Because, you know, he was Mr. Friendly. I'm a big fan of yours, which is bullshit. Like I said before, there's no way.
Maybe he was just fluffing her up.
Maybe, but then he turns when like we have a warrant for your
Right.
house, and then she's like, "What is all this?" And he's like, "Too bad, sister." And then he comes back around again, like, "I love fish." I don't know. I
He's
just
like
thought
all
he was-
men, like just
Yeah, basically,
you know.
he's all men. Yes.
He was like, "Don't excuse my kindness for weakness." Essentially, is what he said to her when she showed up. He's like, "Oh, it's a pleasure," and he's like, "Yeah, don't speak so soon," because he basically is like, "I've only shown you my nice side, but now I'm getting a little pissed.
Yeah.
Now your cat and mouse is kind of starting to annoy me, and you're gonna see the KGB come out."
Wait, so did he purposely let Natalia and what's his face?
Yeah,
go?
he's like, "I tried as hard as I could. What are you gonna do?"
So he's like a good guy at heart. He let them seek
He's like, "I'm
asylum.
gonna let them do it," and I feel like he was doing it for JB, and it was a personal favor to Jessica, since she loved the
Anything
high
anyone
school
does.
ballet so much. She's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you can stay.
We
I'm
got
okay
you.
with it."
It was yeah. All right, you guys have turned me.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's those blue eyes. You look into them a little.
They're crazy eyes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it.
When he mentioned like the book tour, he did the same thing that is omnipresent in every episode, where she's like, "Oh, I'm a mystery writer from Cabot Cove," and they're like, "Oh, there's a famous writer from there called J.B. Fletcher."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you're J.B. You're a lady."
How does everybody know
No one even
about
knows.
Cabot Cove?
Tiny little Cabot Cove, Maine. They know J.B. Fletcher. They're always shocked that she's a woman. That's the
Yeah.
resounding
Like the
thing.
J.K. Rowling kind of thing.
But yeah, it's everywhere. Again, even in Russia, she's at like a Russian state dinner.
And
Everybody's
they all know
They
who
know
she
from
is.
Cabot
Jessica.
Cove.
Oh, I've read all her books. Would you like to meet her? Yeah, she's stranded on a ski mountain with the Olympic ski team. Everybody knows who
Oh,
she
yeah.
is. Yeah. I don't think there's been a single time where someone's been like, no, I've never. Maybe I'll pick
Because
up one
even
of
I
your
feel
books.
like in the pilot, it was her book opening. They had like pictures of her in bookstores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, her first book, international bestseller,
Me
went
too.
crazy. Yeah.
How?
Because she
She
can
writes
do it
a she
all.
writes a hell of a mystery. Her first book was called The Corpse Dances at Midnight, and the killer was a pregnant ballerina, as we learned.
Because they let
Just
pregnant women
FYI.
be ballerinas.
Sure, that's normal.
They crowdfunded it, and it just it happened. That's how it works. Let's see. I just wrote down 2 Rusky toe dancers. I thought that was a fun little phrase.
Oh, God, when they said
Those-
Rusky, every time they say Rusky, I'm like, they're trying to say an animal that says like a minotaur. You know what I mean? Like that, like a half goat, half man or something. It's like, my God, why can't they just say Rooski?
I don't. They just didn't want to. That's how they say it in Maine. Maybe that's their.
That's their accent.
Those Maine people have a weird accent. Bangor, Maine. Who knows how they talk? They say Rusky. But I like the Tom Bosley, our derp cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was especially derpy this
Yeah,
episode.
he was.
The little thing with him and Alexander, I thought was funny. I was like,
So wait, if this was shot in mid-'80s, he had already done Happy Days.
mm-hmm. Happy Days ended probably not long before this started, because this is season.
So it seems like not even a lateral move, because he was the big name in Happy Days.
Yeah, and he did 4 seasons of this, and then he got spun off into his own mystery solving series.
That's right.
He's a priest.
The Father Dowling Mysteries, where he solved murders with a sassy nun.
I do remember this. Oh my God.
We have the DVD here somewhere. We're gonna watch an episode. We keep threatening to.
All right.
We got the DVD, so it's like, okay,
Might as
I
well
guess
at
we'll
this
watch
point,
one.
Yeah.
We'll watch one. I tried watching it. The theme song is like 20 minutes long, and it's horrible.
Oh.
That's as far as I got on one episode. But we're gonna keep trying. We're gonna do it one day. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, and just on the derp cop, my favorite line of the whole episode was when the major is in the police station, and he's trying to find. He's like, where could they be hiding? Trying to figure it out. He's like, and the derp cop is like, oh, it could be in the old mine. And he's like,
wait, that exploded.
oh, that
20
fire
years.
got burned in fire. It's like, seems like a giant factory exploding and bursting into flame. You might remember, but whatever. And then the major gets angry and he goes, oh, there's no need to raise your voice. I'm doing my best. And deadpan he goes, I'm becoming very aware of that. I just thought that was great.
It was amazing.
I love the line right after that. So he's like, I can't believe I'm here, this postage stamp of a town. And then he points to someplace on the map. And then Tom Bosley goes, actually, we're over here.
Yeah.
That was a great line.
Yeah, those guys, they work well together. Again, I don't know why Major Karzov doesn't quit the KGB, opens a bed and breakfast in Cabot Cove, and he's just one of the people roaming around the town having fun. I loved it.
Wish.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of wish, this is a sidetrack, sorry. Whoever did the closed captioning also needs a little bit of a talking to.
Oh, I didn't watch it with closed captioning. What was the...
Oh, I don't know why. My Netflix just automatically... Yeah.
It's like there's going to be a lot of bad accents, Maine, Russian, and otherwise, so we're just going to do you the favor.
Yeah, but like they weren't consistent with like some of the names and stuff.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. And there's like a couple lines that are just completely wrong.
They're just a rewrite, like, I think they meant to say this.
Right, yeah.
A little bit better.
I think this would be a funnier moment.
No one says dame anymore. We're just going to change this up. We're going to make it a little more hip and modern. Those deaf people, they're not going to know. Let's see.
I liked it when Derp Cop was saying that he would recognize a Russian, a country, what is it?
A country mile away.
Country mile away.
Country mile.
Just
I love a country
Derp.
mile.
Yeah, so cute.
You don't hear it in country songs anymore, but people used to say that, didn't they?
What is a country mile?
I was watching this the first time I heard it.
It's like Montana is called the Big Sky State. It's just everything's bigger.
Everything's flat.
Yeah.
It's like a
see a
big
long
mile.
ways
Everything's bigger in the country. So a mile in the country is like, because it's a mile in between homes, so it's a country. Like, it's just...
It's the opposite of what an
It just
LA
means a
mile
long
is.
way. It
Okay.
just
Got
means a
it.
long way.
Got it.
That's all. Let's see. I do love JB's mailbox.
Yeah.
Special shout out to that.
Mailbox?
Pleasure.
When he pulled up, he saw her mailbox. It was like all decorated, and the arm on the mailbox was an American flag.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, when the spy is across the street?
If you blink, you missed it. Because
When
it was
jogging?
it was when Mr. Fleming pulled up, and he's like, "Isn't this the home of that busybody dame?" That's when he saw her name. That's when he realized where he was, and it was just a quick shot of her mailbox in the headlights. P.S. Are you young enough to even know what that arm on the mailbox even means? If you're
Like if mail is there, you have mail to be picked up.
yes,
Yes.
well done.
It's when
Where I live, we've always had them at the end of our block, where you have keys, so they just put it there. So we never had to do it. But My grandma
you
had
and
one.
your
My
country
grandma had one.
miles.
We had, you throw it up. Hey, time to pay the bills. Go put them in there. Put the arm up. Make sure, because he's gonna. I guess because that way they know it's.
It just feels so insecure not having like a key.
You trust people in
The
the
country
country.
mile.
No one's gonna
I
steal
forgot
anything.
it's a country.
Yeah, I mean, come on, a couple busybody dames. Other
Yeah,
than
No
that-
busybody
exactly.
dame from New York City is gonna come wandering in here. I still, when I go home, I'm still like, because they don't lock the doors. P.S. I hope no one that actually knows me listens to this podcast will go rob my mom. But I don't think
No
they know.
one's gonna rob a
Two
lesbian.
tough lesbians? Yeah, Nancy? I don't think so.
They're
Yeah.
fine.
It's like, unless you want just a box load of flannels, go for it. But yeah, they don't lock the door. Like, when we're leaving to go somewhere, I'm like, are you going to lock your door? They're like, why?
Yeah, in the
I'm
small
like, just
town.
while I'm here, just lock the door just so I'm not freaking out, please.
In the small town, we always locked our door, but a lot of my family friends, like, they didn't lock their doors ever, and they still don't. And my friends, they're yelling at their parents, please lock their doors, but they feel safe.
Yeah, I wish I
I've
could
watched
feel-
too much Dateline. I know.
I stayed at someone's house in Jersey that didn't lock their doors.
Oh.
Well, they're just asking for it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like Jersey City or Hoboken. It was still.
Still
It
Jersey.
just kind of
Still
seems
Jersey.
too
I feel like that's
easy,
still kind of a death wish.
I feel like you need to lock your doors.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Make it a little tougher on them. Like, they'll probably still get in. A lock's not going to do much, but...
Listen, just the other night, we had
Oh, yeah.
someone knocking on our door at 4 a.m.
What?
It was just a pantsless, crazy woman. I don't think she was homeless or anything. She was just blotto out of her mind because she had on like a nice spangly top,
Oh.
and she was looking. She said she was looking for her husband, and she knocked on our door, and we got up. What's going on? And she was over across the hallway, banging on. That's why you lock your door, so pantsless busybodies.
Yeah.
Oh, my family friend, our friends who they didn't lock their doors. They lived in a cul-de-sac where all the houses looked the same, and her parents woke up and sleeping in their daughter's bed. She was out at a sleepover. Was a drunk guy without his like
Awesome.
pants on, and they're from South Africa. They're so sweet, and they're like, "Where are you looking for?" He's like, "I'm at my friend's house." Like, "Oh, that's 3 doors down." Like, "Don't worry." They gave him clothes and changed him out, but like,
Oh my
waking
God,
up
that's
to
way
a
too
stranger.
nice.
Wow. Yeah. You do that. Like, yeah. If you did that in my mom's house,
You'd be dead.
you'd hear bang bang. Yeah. 2 shots. She'd go she'd go get the gun out of the cabinet, just put the pillow over his head, not taking any chances.
Pillow. That's sweet.
You gotta silence it,
That's true.
It's neighbors. You gotta be polite.
Keep them.
I thought your neighbors were a country mile away.
Those gunshots are real loud.
That's true.
It's an old gun. It's a revolver. There's a big bullet.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, let's see. What else? Is there anything else that stood out? Conniving little commie. Another good turn of phrase in this.
Yeah, they really.
I feel like it was all that guy
Played up.
Fleming though. It was all
Yeah.
that stage manager was a prick.
Yeah, I almost thought he was gonna call her a "see you next Tuesday,"
A
but
conniving little. Oh, wow.
Tommy,
This
yeah,
is,
it was like
Did you like the
borderline.
way, the way he treated the extra at the top of the show? Where he was like, this is how you do the background, whatever. Like, he was like showing him how to raise the. and
yeah,
lower the
they do it that way, and they
And
didn't
extra
want to.
didn't want to. They didn't want to give any money.
Yeah, they didn't want to pay him, so he just threw
He's
his
just
hands
like,
up and walked away.
Oh,
And they're like, not a
God.
single syllable, asshole. You're getting the minimum and not a penny more. We will cut you out of
poor
this.
guy.
Because you know he tried.
Oh,
you know
I'm sure he's like-
he threw a fine out there, and they're like, hey,
Hey,
whoa,
hey.
whoa, whoa,
Shut
whoa.
your mouth.
Yeah,
Just be happy we're giving you a sandwich.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, craft services. You can have the bagels. You do not touch the meats.
No lock schmear for you.
Let's see. At the end when Arena was it? When Arena was confessing, and they're playing that sad violin music.
Yeah.
Again, just such a great throwback to those movies of old. Tugging my heartstrings. I felt bad for Arena.
Yeah, she looked really cute when she was a ballerina, and then she just looked just
Just that thin,
so her hair
the
was just
thin
jacked.
bangs.
Ah,
Yeah,
And the outfit wasn't
like split ends that
Yeah.
started at the top. Like it
Yeah.
was really bad.
She was a hot mess towards the end of that episode,
And
but
that
so
dress-
cute when she was a ballerina.
That
Yeah.
dress, like the red top she was wearing, the kind of the buttons on the side. Okay, I can work with that. But that black dress with that weird pattern, yeah, she was nuts.
And that's what she was coming to meet her love in?
Right.
Bad choices.
Yeah, and we can see why he chose Natalia.
Yeah.
I think we get
Put some pants on, spangly top.
Let's see. Oh, down east means Maine. I didn't know that. I learned something.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I hadn't heard that. And again, this is all part of JD's plan. Like, she just knew she was going to catch this spy who...
She let
like,
into her house willingly. I would never let a stranger use my phone.
No, I mean, again,
This is in Maine.
This is
though.
Maine.
Maine,
It's tiny
80s.
town, Cabot
Pre
Cove.
9/11.
So he was working for the FBI, yeah, pre 9/11 by, a generation.
Yeah.
So he was working for the FBI, who was then telling Major Karzov where they were going to go. Because the way that the FBI ran this investigation was, hey, we're going to find out who murdered this person. And the KGB and a mystery writer are like, can we do it instead? And he's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah, you got it.
I know, she was like telling people what to do. Check her nails too, don't forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the cop was like,
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Instead of being like,
Excuse me? Who
Who
the fuck
the
are
fuck
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't read your books. I don't give a shit.
I cannot imagine like some old lady coming into my job and being like, "Can you go do this?"
That's the thing. And then they go,
No.
she shows up there after she drops off the defector. She shows back up and they're in the middle of a conversation about this murder. And she's like, excuse me, who's in charge? And they just like stop and answer her and take their time instead of being like, hey, Officer Jones,
lunatic.
Get her out of here.
Yeah.
This is a goddamn crime scene. People are just wandering in here. And then they go to the actual crime scene.
I write cookbooks.
Yeah,
I would like to
exactly.
give you some advice.
That's the thing. Yeah, her intro to the whole thing was like, well, I'm a little obsessed with murder. And it's like,
He's like, "Wait,
Okay.
hold up, wait, you're fascinated with murder?"
yeah.
She's like, "Well, I write crime books."
And I'm like, oh, okay. Still get out.
Still
Yeah.
weird.
Still go. And then when they go to the actual room where he was murdered with the nice little masking tape
Oh
outline.
my god, so good.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was Frankenstein that was murdered.
Yeah,
It was like
Frankenstein's
a
monster.
skinny, yeah,
That was
Frankenstein.
skinny
huge.
with his pumpkin head. He had a pumpkin head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And then they're just, as they're flirting, just walking back and forth all over the murder scene.
Yeah.
Just getting it all over, just getting
He's
their foot.
literally stepping all over the tape. And
That's the
body.
thing. When he was talking about, he's like, "Oh, we'll talk about this and that," and his laugh was great. But he
Yeah.
was just like flirting with her, talking about, "Let's go get a coffee," and
Yeah.
you're just standing on a body was there moments ago.
Yeah.
There's probably still blood on the carpet,
Probably.
but okay,
Soaked in.
but whatever. Let's see. That's all. I think that's all I got.
Yeah,
Anybody
maybe
else?
Have bad accents, racism,
Just really
stupidity.
standard murder she wrote
Yeah,
fare.
Thank
Really?
goodness there are other douchey people in the world, so the Russians don't have to take the brunt of it anymore.
Right.
Thank God. Yeah. Thank God. Some more international assholes emerge.
Yeah.
And it's
Russians are
and-
tame. Now
Yeah, enough is enough,
You
yeah.
hear
And I know that
anything.
you're surrounded by them in this area, and I apologize.
It's, hey, we got there's a fair amount. There's the Jewish Russian,
Yeah.
so they're the good Russians.
Where's like the
Are
highest
they?
population
Is there
of
a good
Russians outside of Russia? You know how there's always like one.
Brighton Beach, New York. Per capita, I think there are.
There's a lot. There's actually a lot. I used to live in Sacramento. Apparently, there's a very large.
Well, San Francisco has a big Russian community. That's where I
Oh,
grew up.
actually,
And
the
LA.
one Russian girl I know is from San Francisco.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, her name's Masha.
of course it is. What's her last name?
Let me find it for you. 'cause
Oh, no,
I
it's
don't
okay.
remember. She was in my sorority, but
Because I remember one of my guys I worked with had his car stolen, and the cops in that area over by our hotel blamed everything on the Russians.
no.
Everything. It got your car got stolen.
that's
Pretty
sad.
safe.
No, that's like, oh, I feel like it was just so they didn't have to do any work. They're like, your car got stolen. It's halfway on a boat to Russia. Don't worry about it. That was their answer for everything. Your computer got stolen. It's on a boat to Russia. Don't worry about it. It's like,
Really, Mexico's right there.
yeah. No, it's on a boat to Russia. We put it on a boat.
On a boat
they're
to
they're
Mexico.
taking it apart. It's gone. You'll never see it again. Okay.
That's
Before we go,
fantastic.
one more quick game. This game, in honor of the Kentucky Derby that just happened this weekend, is this a Kentucky Derby horse or the title of a Murder, She Wrote episode? Okay.
That's good.
First one, Gun Runner.
That's a horse.
It's a horse.
It is a horse. If you watch the Kentucky
The
Derby,
one.
this
Yeah.
is going to be a
Did you watch it?
This is going to be a
Okay.
quick game. Okay.
I'll let you answer. Sorry.
Okay, okay.
Deadpan.
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She Wrote.
It is a Murder, She Wrote episode. O'Malley's Luck.
Horse.
I think that's a horse.
That is a Murder, She Wrote episode.
Oh.
Firing Line.
That's a Murder, She Wrote.
That's a horse.
That is a horse. Sudden breaking news.
That's a horse.
That's a shitty horse name, but it's a horse.
That is a horse. And the vague racism should give this one away. Indian Giver?
Murder, She Wrote.
That is an episode of Murder, She Wrote.
I was like, oh, it's this Kentucky Derby. Okay, right now.
Yeah, not the 1947
Indian Giver,
Kentucky.
what is the plot of that one?
Well, maybe one day we'll find out. If
Yeah,
someone recommends it to us,
No, why not?
we'll find out one day. But I think that'll do it for now. Kira, would you like to tell the good folks where they can find your special, where they can find you online?
Well, I'm going to be online watching every Murder, She Wrote now.
I mean,
now
As
obviously,
you should, yeah.
you guys have opened my eyes to it.
You have 12 seasons, so
Oh.
brace yourself.
264 episodes. Yeah, just pace yourself. Don't try to go too nuts.
Don't go
Once a
crazy.
month,
People can find me at Kira Comedy on the Twitter.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And you can find my special on Amazon and iTunes and Google Play and soon Hulu and Video on Demand and Dish Network, and it's a lot of streaming places.
And it's called You Did This to Me.
You did this to me.
Okay. All right, guys, be sure to watch it again. I've watched it twice now.
Did you rate it and review it?
No, it won't let you do it on the Roku. You got to go online.
Oh.
So you
But
better go
Kira,
online, Ben.
For you,
For me?
consider
I
it done.
will go
Consider
online
it done.
for you.
Because those algorithms.
That's
man,
what it is.
Gotta
That's
gotta
fun.
get those algorithms up.
That's why you got to go leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, by the way, you
Yes.
guys. Because that's
It's important.
all that matters. That's why we do this, for the stars. We want 5 stars. That's the only reason we're here. So go leave us a good review. Do I have a review to read? Actually, I do have one. Let me just read a quick review that we got this week from Heather Cupcakes. She gave us 5 stars. Glorious, just glorious. I ventured over from Pretty Little Podcasters and was not disappointed. Murder We Spoke keeps me in fits of laughter and literally gets me through my workday. Ben, Melissa, and Marissa are my favorite podcasters ever.
Oh.
So sweet.
Slay, cupcakes.
I don't know why you're including Melissa in there. She's
She's not really
been derelict in
the
her
show.
Murder, She Wrote duties. It's like pulling teeth to get her here.
She's been in like 3.
She's been in like 3. Every time we're like, time to do a murder, we'll play there's a bingo game you can play, a drinking bingo game you can play. We'll have some
And Ben
fun.
doesn't drink, so I can only play with her.
That's the thing. I put money in. I'll put money in and play the game. But
She didn't even want to put $5
she's like,
in.
I don't want to play this. It's just a good play. It's like, so she's, once every 6 months she shows up.
But you know what? It's
So,
okay.
But yeah, you want to give her credit, whatever, fine. I'll allow it.
She won't listen to this. So
She'll
it's
never
okay.
know that we're shitting on her right now. She'll never know. It's fine. All right, guys. Other than that, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks again, Kira.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
All right, guys. I hope you really enjoyed Kira. It was so much fun. So you might have noticed that we didn't do the Return of Preston Jazz, which we promised we would do. I don't think we even mentioned the name of the episode. We just jumped right in because we had Kira and it was awesome. This episode was called Death Takes a Curtain Call. Next week is when we're going to do, or next month is when we're going to do the Return of Preston Giles, and kind of have our unofficial first 1 anniversary of the podcast. So do come back then. We will see you next time. I hope you guys enjoyed Kira. And again, seriously, she's gone now. I'm recording this on my own. There's no one else in the apartment. I can honestly say her special is phenomenally funny. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it as part of your Amazon Prime subscription. You can go on iTunes and get it. It is well worth. You can rent it or you can buy it. Either way, throw Kira a couple ducats for the effort, for all the pee and sweat that she put into that special. It is so funny. But again, we will do the Return of Preston Giles next month, and we will see you guys there. Thanks again. Bye.